So this is a training video focused on purchase orders uh, from Spire with lot numbers and non-lot numbered items. So the first thing I want to illustrate is how we do a purchase order directly from the mobile. So I have a purchase order here, and the purchase order has to be issued. That's one of the mandatory requirements. So once a purchase order is issued, I can import it into the into the SwiftCount platform in one of two ways. The first is to go to the platform itself, go to orders, which is a purchase orders on SwiftCount, click on the little order integration and import a specific order by putting the number here. That's one way of bringing it in here so that it becomes available through the mobile. So if I put a purchase order number and hit sync, it actually didn't find that PO because that one is for warehouse 3 and I'm only working in warehouse 00. So I'm going to try a different one. I'm going to try 05. So when I import this PO, it actually imported it twice, once for warehouse 00 and one for warehouse 001 because there was item from both warehouses. So that's actually okay. So now when I close this, I'm going to see those POs here. Once the POs are imported on the portal, I can view them and I can assign them to users. So to assign them to specific user, I will just click on receive on mobile. Otherwise, they're automatically assigned to everybody. So on the mobile device, when I log in, what I can do, because those purchase orders already are in SwiftCount, I can just tap on orders. And here, if I want to see them, so first of all, if they had been assigned to me, they would just show up here. In this case, they haven't been assigned, so I can either scan the number and it'll load them, or I can click on the little plus here, and I'll see all the purchase orders that are on the system. So I want the first one, the 001, so I just tap on the little plus that's besides. And basically, what that does is that just brings the the PO here for me to start scanning it. Here I have two ways to scan it. Number one, I can open the little camera here, and that would allow me to just go ahead and scan the items sequentially, and it would fulfill them here. So the idea here when we open the auto scan screen is that we can start scanning, and every time we scan an item, it basically adds it. So just to illustrate, I paused the video and I scanned it 23 times, so I need 24 of them. Once I scan the 24th one, it actually will change color, and if I make a mistake, I can click minus. So the idea here is you could just go ahead and scan everything that you're receiving, and it automatically will receive it in the primary location. The other option is to actually just go back to the item, then you'll see the list of items. And here, if you scan a different one, in this case, because I'm not in auto scan mode, I can just scan the barcode. And what it does, it'll open the screen. The first time you open, it gives you a little training tutorial. You can ignore that. Here you have the option to select which location you want to receive it to. So once you pick a location, you can also, if you wanted to receive everything in that location, you can actually lock it by clicking on the little lock here at the top. So from now on, every item that I'm going to be receiving is all going to be receiving here. The idea here is if you wanted to receive something to a specific location, this is how you would do it. So in this case, because I've actually selected it, I get the chance to enter it either by tapping on the bottom, on the buttons. Any button that I tap will actually add the corresponding quantity. And if I tap and hold one of the buttons, it actually opens a multiplier. I can also vary the number by moving the scroll down a little bit. I can also tap in the middle, bring in a calculator to have either a calculator or a full keyboard. So this is how we enter items. And as we enter item and we receive them, all we have to do to receive them is click on the little checkbox at the bottom or swipe your finger from left to right. And when you click the checkbox and you receive it, you'll see instantly that the desktop will be updated so that the quantities are received. As you're going through the process and you receive it, once you've received everything that you're supposed to receive, the last step is just to click on process. So if I was to receive another item here that I hadn't received, it would automatically keep it into the same location because I have my little lock active. The other thing that I can do is I can filter everything that I received. I can see what's completed, what's not completed, and I have the option to toggle that back and forth. So if I click on all, I can see the items that have been completed in my PO, the one that I scanned the 24 and the one that I did the 6. And then the final thing in this illustration is how you can swipe down to basically see everything that you've scanned so far. It's called a Swift audit. And then you click on the little check, the little back here to complete. So basically, that's how you receive a purchase order, by pre-assigning it from the desktop first. That was the first thing we wanted to illustrate. The second one is to do exactly the same thing, but in this case, we're actually going to receive it by scanning the purchase order directly on the mobile without even importing it to Spire. So the final step here before I move on away from that purchase order is to hit process. Now that can also be done from the desktop, but in this case, most people do it from the mobile device. Once you send it on the mobile device, what happens, it actually completes that purchase order, sends it back to the server, and will commit the quantities that you've received. Actually, this is a good example here. I got an error, and the error came directly on my mobile device. And the reason I got this error is that the order was actually opened in Spire, so I'm not able to process it. So all I have to do is just make sure I close it, go back to my mobile device, click OK, and then process it again. So as soon as it's processed successfully, basically what it does in terms of a purchase order, it's going to go and it's going to update the received quantity directly in the purchase order in Spire, so that the last step would be to just receive it, to complete that process and receive it. The balance is still in SwiftCount and can still be obviously scanned so that you complete the receipt of the purchase order. So this is basically a partial receipt of the purchase order that completes how we did it by first importing it onto the portal, and then receiving it. The next purchase order I'm going to receive is exactly the same thing, but in this case, the item is lot numbered. So I'm actually going to receive the lot number. But what I also want to illustrate here is that this purchase order is in Spire, but it's not yet in SwiftCount. So the second way to bring it to SwiftCount is by simply going to the mobile device. And in this case, I'm just going to scan that order number. And what it does is, because it doesn't find it in SwiftCount, it'll actually go and get it directly from Spire and then show me the quantity and the quantity that I need to receive. And what happened on the portal, when it got imported from the mobile, it actually imported on the portal at the same time as it imported on the mobile. So I can view it. This one only has one item and it's lot numbered. So because the item is lot numbered, I can't go to the auto scan because obviously I have to enter the lot number. So the option here is to either scan the item or just tap on it to load it up here. When I tap on it, there is a little bit of a difference here. First thing I have to do again is pick my location. So I would pick the location where I want to receive it to. Same idea, I could have locked it if I had multiple items. But here, because it's a lot number item, I also have to tap on this little icon here, which basically decides the lot number. Now, if I already have the item in stock and I already have lot number, it's going to give me the option to select that if I'm just receiving more, or I can click on the little plus and add a lot number. So I hit on the plus to add the lot number. It opened a box here where I can actually scan or just enter a lot number here directly using my keyboard. And if I want to, I can also select an expiration date or not. If I click on the little calendar here, it'll open a calendar. But if I don't want to, I don't have to enter an expiration date. All I have to do is click on the little checkbox here. And what that does is that assigns that lot number. So I'm now ready to receive this item with this lot number. I need 1,000 feet. So I'm going to receive 500 feet of that one lot number. And then if it's going to show me that I'm short 500 feet. So again, I'm going to do the same process. In this case, I'm going to pick a different lot number. I could have received another one, obviously, and I'm going to receive the balance. So that order has been fully received. That's why I don't see any line here. Same idea here. It would say not completed. And then the process here, just as before, is to process it. Again, I can process it from the desktop. If I wanted to see in the desktop what I've scanned, I can always go here. I see that I needed 1,000. I received 1,000. If I click on view, I see the detail of that 1,000 line. And here I see the 500 and 500 because I received it in two different scans. And again, if I click on view, I'll be able to see which lot number. So there's also a little garbage can here. If I make a mistake, I can always delete it and re-import it. One thing I also want to point out is if I go to product and I want to see that product from the main page where I actually see the product, it shows me that I have 28 on hand, but actually available is 1,028. The reason for that is that that purchase order hasn't been processed yet, which means that the inventory is actually not in stock yet until I process it, but it's available because I've actually scanned it and I've actually received it. So if I click on it, I can actually see what I received. I can see the location. I can even see which purchase order they're actually on so that I can make sure that it's completed, and then I can process it. Once I process it, the inventory will become available. Same process happens when you do a sales order, whereby it'll be the opposite, where it actually will be consumed, so you can see which user, which sales order has already been consuming it. So just to finish that process here, I'm going to go back to the mobile. Same idea. I hit process and confirm. And then when I open that purchase order in Spire, I can see that I've received 1,000, and I can see the lot numbers have already been assigned. Again, the final step in Spire is just received. That completes receiving that purchase order.